It's time to go back to 2017! Because 2017 was a great year of film for me. An amazing year of film. Objectively and cumulatively and numerically, it was actually more than twice as amazing as 2016. So, because of that, I did a bit of a shake-up of formats, and I decided to cover some movies, but not all. And now, a week into this new year, I am riddled with regrets. Regrets at not talking about the other great, amazing movies that did not make it on the lists that I made. So, without a further ado, I'm gonna quickly shuffle through all of them to sort of get it out of the way, get it out of my head, and to make it a big, awesome final goodbye to another great year that went by. Just a quick note, no rankings, not even a specific order, literally at random, whatever I feel like. Let's go. Reboot, but even more kiddier. That's what this movie is. That being said, it does get a lot of undeserved hate. I loved it. It was fun. It was funny. It delivered a message about belonging, about being true to yourself, and all that stuff. Of course, it was modeled in all sorts of corporate shenanigans and product placements that actually wove into the story, ironically enough. But yeah, not amazing, not terrible. I would watch it again. I mean, it had some pretty entertaining moments. Perfect for kids, sort of. Maybe not so much for adults. Not missing out much if you don't check it out, but you're not wasting much if you do check it out. There is no better way to prove that someone is carrying a franchise than to have a movie in that franchise without that certain someone. That certain someone obviously being Paul Walker, and that movie obviously being Fate of the Furious. The untimely demise of the superstar, of the main face and heart of this amazingly long-running series of films, is so missed. The actual film has to pause, literally pause, and go, yeah, wouldn't it be great if he was here? Sure. Well, let's get on with the good stuff. Not as good as Furious 7, but whatever will. The series literally peaked at that film. Here, it didn't so much slide down as much as took a step down, because again, it was missing that key element. It was missing that special sauce, you know. Still liked it though. Still was decent. Still gonna watch it again. Most probably in the upteenth marathon of the series. Still looking for the other two. Well, so look forward to the next two, to the final two films in the franchise. Looking forward to seeing how they close it off, what they do next. But yeah, check it out. But don't be surprised if you find yourself going, not as good as the last one. Historical revisionism be damned. This is the greatest show. This movie is a gift, a heavenly gift to all lovers of Broadway, of musicals, of just having fun. And of Hugh Jackman. My god, his first movie post-Logan, I think this is. So, yeah, and what a way to stay, I don't know, in a spotlight. Because The Greatest Showman is amazing, is absolutely amazing. I know, the P.T. Barnum in this flick is a far cry from what the man actually was in his actual life, all those actual years ago. But what do you expect? It's Hugh Jackman. You couldn't, no. Screw that. Screw what history is, what history was. This film entertains on every level. It delivers the feels, it delivers the beats, it delivers a soundtrack that I ended up listening to while trying to come up with what to say about this film. If that's not a glowing review of how amazing this is, nothing will be. Triple X, you say? That movie from 15 years ago, you say? The one that had that one sequel nobody bothered with, you say? And it's back? What? Wow. Yeah, not only is it back, it's back strong, baby. Vin Diesel is at the top of his game in this, unlike in his other movie this year. But yeah, fun from beginning to end. Predictable, gotta admit, kind of predictable, but it's kind of predictability that you expect, so it's not disappointing as much as it's just, well, predictable. Predictable but not disappointing. You still have fun with it. You know where it's going, but you still have fun with it despite knowing the destination, because this is like any great journey. It's all about the journey, not the destination. And then it ends with a sweet little cameo for people who actually bothered watching that one sequel from a dozen or so years ago. Yeah, check it out. Definitely check it out. Have fun with it. Don't think about it too hard, and just enjoy the carnage. Daddy, where do babies come from? Well, I don't know, little tag. Would you rather watch Storks or The Boss Baby? Because they deliver a completely different story about it. Seriously, is there like an epidemic of kids just asking their parents where babies come from? Or do parents just suddenly run out of ideas of what to answer them? What happened to the cabbage patches? To, well, the stork? No, wait, we already have the storks. So why this? What's up with this? Why the sudden weird thing of heavenly institution that delivers toddlers through magic of taxis? What? But okay, despite all that, fun for the whole family. That's what this movie is. It's fun for the whole family. It's something you can put in one night just to chill, just to watch, just to laugh at, just to have a bit of entertainment going on. And yeah, check it out if you will. Don't if you don't. But you will have a good time with it. The first thing that goes through my head when I think of this movie is Queen Latifah dry humping a lamp on a sofa in a club. That should tell you what kind of movie it is. And that should probably immediately tell you if that's the kind of movie you would like to watch. That being said, I think this is the girl movie. This is the kind of movie where women can empathize with the main characters, where actually, no, you know what? No. Everybody can empathize with these characters because it deals with long-term friendships that get more and more strayed as the time goes on. And then the few times that the friends do get together, and of course they have to make the most of it, and they get up to crazy shit. So, not fun for the whole family, that's for sure. More fun for the ladies than the men, I think. Definitely. But regardless, again, Queen Latifah dropping a lamp on a sofa in a club. High as balls. Apes together, strong. Wow, what a send-off. What a send-off to what has been probably the most impressive reboot in recent years. Impressive from all standpoints. Impressive from the fact that every chapter it delivered more than the previous. Impressive from the fact that it worked from the outset. It didn't stumble. It started off strong and it just got stronger. And then it finished just at the top. But that being said, yeah, this movie also had one of the most misleading ad campaigns I've probably ever seen in recent memory, because it lauded itself as this big, sprawling, action-packed, explosion-heavy war movie, you know, the final stand, all that stuff. It's not. It's a far cry from that. It's like the opposite side of the spectrum, though. It is deep, it is self-searching, it is downright depressing at times, legitimately depressing, because of what happens to the characters you come to love throughout the films, or even the characters you just meet this movie, and you still come to care enough about them to care about what happens to them, and it hits you. It when it wants to hit you, it hits you right in the heart, heavily, very heavily handed. The storytelling in this one is very heavily handed, but I figure it kind of has to be, as a final chapter. It really has to hammer down, make that final stand, I suppose, to close off strong, to be the last thing in your memory, because it will be the last thing in memory. It's the end of an era, effectively, and what you remember from the end is what sticks with you, and it wants what sticks with you to really, really stick with you, in a good way. And this movie is good. More than good. It's amazing. It's not for everybody, definitely. And again, it's not what you'd expect. It subverts and exceeds expectations at the same time. Hitting all the right notes at all the right times, but hitting completely different notes than you probably would expect from watching the trailers and coming in, to sit down and watch it. But do watch it. If you haven't watched the previous movies, do watch them first, because it will fill in a lot of the blanks. And, well, a lot of blanks. This is the final chapter. Why would you watch the final chapter without watching the rest of the series? Watch the original two, then come back to this one, be awed, be amazed, and be thankful that we have this trilogy that is effectively a pitch-perfect reboot that works on every level. Power Rangers has the distinct honor of changing my stance towards it from no to go only about a third way in. That's incredible. That's really actually incredible, because I was honestly very against this movie. Before it came out, as it came out, me going in, dragged in, I should say, into a session of it. And then next thing I knew, I was going, okay, this is interesting. It's still a hodgepodge of all sorts of Power Ranger lore in one place for no reason other than, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I can't come up with a reason. And from there, it sort of evolved into me yelling "Go Power Rangers" as the Zords came out, me absolutely being ecstatic with excitement when the Megazord finally came out, and me absolutely losing my mind at the post-credit tease of none other than Tommy Oliver, the one, the only, the Green Power Ranger! So yes, very excited for the sequel. That being said, this is that sort of movie that is only worth checking out for fans of the franchise. Anybody else, I don't think will just nobody else, I should say. Nobody else, I think, will get anything out of it. So, fan of the show, check it out. Not, skip it. Lego Power Rangers the movie. That's what this is. Yeah, because despite the title, the Ninjago movie has literally nothing to do with the Ninjago show, except utilizing the exact same characters, roughly the exact same status quos, but shifting it around into making it, well, pretty much Lego Power Rangers. I mean, it's 5 teenagers with giant mechs fighting some evil overlord trying to take over their city for almost no reason at all, and doing so while almost pretty much flinging catchphrases and having weird gimmicks. Yeah, it's Power Rangers. It's Power Rangers with Lego, with ninjas. It's Power Rangers Ninja Storm in Lego. And it's awesome. And I love it. And it's fun. And it's fun for everybody. Everybody will get a kick out of this. It's anything Lego, honestly, is fun for everyone. And this is probably even better for not having anything to do with the show, because you don't have to sift through 5 seasons worth of stuff to understand what's going on. You just go into the movie, you know exactly what's going on, you have fun with it, and that's it. The way to fulfillment may be different than one might expect. That's the main takeaway of the film, and that's the main lesson that Lightning McQueen, Mr. I Am Speed himself, gets to learn in what is his final chapter of his lustrous career as the top of the top, creme de la creme elite racer. Because everything has a shelf life, and his career in this movie is reaching the end of its shelf life. And as he tries to deal with that, he tries to sort of postpone the inevitable, he in the end learns that, again, fulfillment can come from a different source than what he was looking for to begin with. And in that respect, it is a very touching conclusion, and also it surprisingly, or rather not surprisingly, because this is not the kind of movie where it's full of twists, you see exactly where it's going. It's a predictable story, but you still enjoy the ride while you're there. And while it ends his story, it begins a different story, a different new journey, a different new road, a different new trail that we can follow for years to come. And I honestly look forward to that. So, goodbye, McQueen. We loved you. Let's see what the new story gives us. And of course, ka-chow! Thor Ragnarok is a hella good time that takes a nice big step back from the dark and the broody and just encases itself in the awesome, the hilarious, and the absolute best of 80s camp and nostalgia. Every moment just has you at the edge of your seat, and it goes in directions you would never expect Thor, of all people, to go into. It delivers the laughs, it delivers the action, it delivers the usual MCU flair to it. Of course, with the prerequisite post credit world building nuggets tidbits that we've come to expect. Of course, I really honestly think everybody should check this out. Even people who don't like Thor, even the people who don't like the first two Thor movies, should really check this out. I mean, if you love fun, adventurous, and in many ways surprising movies that rock out to some of the best, do it. It's hammer time. Do you want a balloon? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Was this supposed to be a scary movie? I thought it was a horror movie. Was this supposed to be a horror movie? Yeah? Really? No. If you want a scary movie, go look somewhere else. This is dark comedy at its best. The movie is extremely and surprisingly imaginative with its quote-unquote scares. I mean, okay, backpedal a bit. The opening scene is legitimately creepy, and the payoff is legitimately unsettling. The rest, dark comedy. It's a dark comedy, but it's a great one. It's extremely watchable beginning to end, and it's extremely rewatchable, honestly. Pennywise, this particular Pennywise is probably the best we're ever going to get. Honestly, the best. Sorry, Tim Curry. But not scary at all. Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Visually creative. Check it out. You won't regret it. The first real Smurfs film finally makes its way onto the big screen, and it is exactly what you'd expect from a Smurfs movie. Down to Gargamel, his cat, that weird bird he has, and a mystery to solve. And I will leave it at that, because discussing this movie any further will constitute spoilers, and you should totally check it out for yourselves, as anyone who either loves the Smurfs or loves great animation films, or has kids who would love to see a great animation film, definitely should. Not since the prequels have we had such a divisive entry in the Star Wars franchise. That's what you hear literally everywhere all over the internet. But I'm definitely not divided. The Last Jedi was absolutely and completely and 100% mediocre. Far from the worst entry in the franchise, far from the worst at the giant hype machine that doesn't seem to lose steam no matter how much it fucks up, spewed out. But yeah, I don't hate it enough to have put it on my bottom, but I definitely don't love it either. It's got some interesting ideas, I'll admit, but where it falls flat on its face is the execution of pretty much everything that it tries to, well, execute. Order 66. Yeah. Now, mediocre. If you're a Star Wars fan, you already watched it, and you already either complained about it or complained about people complaining about it. If you're not a Star Wars fan, you're gonna skip out on it. Whatever I say here doesn't matter. Midichlorians. Let's be honest. Nobody asked for this. Nobody wanted this. The gut reaction of literally everybody who ever heard of this being made was, why? Why would you do that? And then we all went, expecting to hate it, expecting to at least laugh at how bad it is, and to our collective surprise, it didn't turn out bad. It turned out good. Great even. Not as good as the original. Well, I'd say almost as good as the original. Not better, but almost as good. It delivered all the right stuff. It added even all the right stuff. It's a mix of old and new that works. It is a rendition of a classic tale for the current generation. My generation, we have the old original movie. That's great. But now we can show the new generation this movie and be like, here, enjoy it. It's just as good as what we had. You know, I love seeing that. Let's just enjoy it, okay? Blade Runner 2049 is a unique sequel in the fact that it is a sequel 25 years later that understands what it is like to be a sequel 25 years later. When we go into this film, it feels like the world inside. It feels like that classic, amazing sci-fi world has been living, breathing, evolving, going through the motions for 25 years. Yeah, and only now do we return to it to see what the ravages of time have done to it. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And honestly, this movie has to be seen to be believed, because again, it is the kind of sequel that it is so seldom done right that seeing it done this well is absolutely mind-blowing. Can't go into too much detail with the plot because right off the bat, spoiler territory. But let's just say that there's a grand mystery to be solved, of course, you know, that involves characters from the original, of course, and that actually, I don't know, it sort of peters off at a certain point, and it's, well, yeah, well, I would like more Blade Runners to be made, I suppose. I'll live if this is the last one. I'll be happy, you know? It's that perfect of a singular chapter sort of 25 years later. Wow. To it, that if this is where it all ends, so be it. Not much to say here, honestly. My Little Pony the movie is exactly like My Little Pony the show. So if you love the show, you will definitely already have watched this. And what I say here doesn't matter. Or if you don't love the show, you're not gonna watch this. So again, whatever I say here doesn't matter. But for all it's worth, It's a fun kids film that sort of actually doesn't rely on the base background knowledge of the show as much as one would expect. Everything gets explained from the beginning. All the characters' traits, all the main gimmicks of the world and such, and even the blanks that are there can be filled in, you know, as you go. That's fine. Nothing important is left out. Nothing will leave you confused because the movie actually bases itself around completely new locations and completely new characters, so even veterans of the show will get something new to enjoy out of it. But at the same time, it gets all the good old stuff as well. I mean, the locations are all bright and colorful and wonderful and uniquely imaginative in a way that is unique to the show. The characters, both old and new, are just great. The songs, every single one of them is extremely catchy and fun. My personal two standouts are The Friend That You Need and Open Up Your Eyes. Just amazing, can't get enough of them. It goes exact same way as you would expect, whether you watch the show or not. This is not the kind of movie that has any surprises, really. Like, the moment it starts, you know exactly where it's going and you know exactly where it's heading, and it does not surprise, but it does entertain. So for all it's worth, I guess try it out and be entertained. And that's it. Done and dusted. 2017, done and over with. Bring on 2018. Bring on all the new amazing films that I'll get to watch this year, hopefully. And with that, goodbye, and thanks for all the fish.